what I think is important is to pursue that presidential declaration to say that, look, we need police, to really go and secure communities, especially in those ungoverned states. But I don't think it's going to happen as quickly as many of us expect. But to the extent that it can go on, that will seem to be, in my view, what is right. The other question is the readiness of the civil defense to take over that responsibility. So these are very quite interesting conversation. But I wanted to also comment on what seemed to have been called the wrath of the Nobel laureate, their elder statesman and prof. Clearly, the president's directive ought to also affect, even his own son. But my point about what Prof described, the kind of number of, I think he said he counted about 15, soldiers or security men, and then a long convoy. It is part of the excesses of the presidential system. And it's not peculiar to Nigeria, I was just reading up on this, and it turns out that Baron Trump, the son of the U.S. president who is schooling in New York, has as much as 30, Secret Service people around him in his school in NYU, causing the same kind of wrath, and I mean, incurring the wrath of the people, just like, the wrath of Professor Shoyinka was incurred, seeing Sheyi with that number of security. So this is part of the stuff that happens when we have a presidential system. It's not unusual. And I don't think that Professor Shoyinka was saying that Sheyi shouldn't be protected, but he was saying that, look, we have to find a way to do this thing moderately, not to overdo things, which is a very legitimate point. But my greater point is that, look, this is why we need to terminate the presidential system. We don't need a presidential system. The presidential system is too expensive beyond all the other things. It allows the president to be cocooned in the villa. He doesn't have to engage with anybody if he doesn't want to. That system is not useful for us. And this is one example. The kind of excesses that it allows and that it condones is not. We don't have the luxury of all of those things. So the final point is that on the matter, yes, we should have the police to secure the community, but it will require a lot more. So that policy cannot stand alone. It must include the fact that what are we doing to mobilize those police people, because many of them get some kind of welfare. When they do those VIP, VVIP, they get some welfare, additional to what they've been taking before, and what their official returns are. So when you move them out, there must be a commensurate way to keep their morale going, and then they also have to be well trained in order to be able to do the job that they ought to do. I agree with the president, but it will take a lot more in terms of planning.